Hello, Tarot Tribe. Welcome back to the channel. And if you are just joining us in for the first time, welcome to Moon Arrow Tarot. Today, we're going to be talking about an amazingly incredible deck called the Herbal Astrology Oracle. And as usual, we will talk about the packaging. We'll get inside the box, see what comes with it. Then we'll get into the cards, talk about those, and then finally do our flip through, the thing that we all wait for. And at the end, we will pull a card and we will take a look at that in the guidebook just to kind of see how the interpretation is rendered and how they break down the meanings of a card. So if you are purely interested in the aesthetics and the visuals and you just want to see that flip through, you can zoom ahead to the end. Down below in the description, I have the timestamps posted for you guys, as well as any links to the artist, the author, as well as the publishing company, which is Hay House. Those are all included in the description below for you guys in case you're interested in seeking out more or you want to pick this amazing deck up for yourself, especially after watching this review. So with that, let's get into this. First off, the packaging. We have this really sturdy two-piece, hard, thick, firm cardboard box that I love. These are one of my favorite forms of packaging for decks. On the outside, it is in this kind of soft touch laminated finish, which is always really nice and pleasurable to touch and to hold and feel. It's like you could just kind of pet the box all day long. Very, very soft. We also see this imagery is actually from one of the cards in the deck, and we will get into that in our flip through. But of course, we have, pictures of these look to be poppies and the pods back there. We've got astrological stars, the moon, the sun. So very, very interesting. This deck is packed full of symbolism and meaning. I mean, just the backgrounds of the two individuals alone who formulated most of this deck between the illustrator and the creator. Their backgrounds are phenomenal. We'll also get into that when we read the bios. So let's talk about the rest of this box. On the left and right sides, they are mirrored. We have the title of the deck, the creator's name, the artist's name, and of course the publisher's name on both sides of that. Same as on the front, we have the artist name at the top, Adriana Ayales, the artwork by Josephine Klerks. A little mention here that it is a 55 card deck with a guidebook, and then of course at the bottom, that title. On the tops and bottoms, it is mirrored again, but this time we have the title of the deck and simply the creator's name. When we turn this over and take a look at the back, we have 5 depictions of cards from the deck. And on the back, I will read from top to bottom. It says, "You are the medicine. Open an ancient portal to discover the powerful connection between the healing wisdom of plants and their astrological rulers with this unique 55 card oracle deck and guidebook." But here's where it gets interesting. Each richly illustrated card depicts a sacred plant ally and its planetary correspondences, while the guidebook illuminates the traditional medicinal applications, ceremonial uses, spiritual messages, animal guides, and symbolic meanings associated with these important herbs, trees, flowers, and mushrooms. That's a lot, guys. This thing is filled with information, and that's why I was so excited and had it on my wish list, and it was at the top of that wish list for so long. So I am thrilled to have this finally in my hands and to be able to bring this to you guys and to share it with you. So with that, let's open this up and then we'll take a look at the rest of the box details from the inside. First, let's take a look at the base. So once we take that cover off, what we see is kind of this like brown craft paper effect. It's not that, it's still that kind of like soft, smooth laminate rose petal feel. On the inside of the top and bottom of the boxes, the paper from the outside is cut short, and then we see this kind of nice purple, soothing lavender color that covers the cardboard itself. On the inside of the lid, it's that same purple, but then on the back of the lid on the inside, I don't really know how to describe that, but it looks almost exactly like one of our card backs, except in the center, we have that same line that reads, "You are the medicine," which is so true and just so special and so valuable as a reminder. If anybody is familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work and his book called "You Are the Placebo," that is just a really great line that encapsulates that book. that we all have that capability inside of us. We basically are our own pharmacy. So with that, let's take a look at our guidebook, and we will get into some of the details of this. The first thing that you see, the cover of our guidebook, is depicted exactly the same as the outer lid of the box. Really, the only differences here are we don't have the reiteration that it's a 55 card deck, and at the bottom it mentions that it is the guidebook. When you look, you can see how thick this book is. It's probably, yeah, it's about as thick as my pinky finger. Very well bound book, you know, feels very quality. It's very thick. On our spine, we have the title of the deck, the guidebook, the creator's name, and of course the publisher there, Hay House, at the bottom. And on the back, now we're finally getting to see a little hint of our creator and our illustrator. So let's go through that. At the top, obviously, we have the name of the deck. And then coming down, we have a photo of our author and creator. Adriana Ayales is a rainforest herbalist, medicine maker, mother, educator, and owner of Anima Mundi Herbals. Adriana started Anima Mundi in Brooklyn, New York to bring ancient remedies to the modern world. Her heart's purpose is to create a true farm-to-pharmacy experience through the art of medicine making while offering a sustainable system of healing. She was born and raised in Costa Rica and has extensively studied amongst several healing traditions. Next, we have Josephine Klerks, who is our illustrator. She is an author, she is an artist, mother, and folk herbalist based in the Swedish woods. She communes and co-creates with Mother Nature through ancient craft, herbalism, motherhood, dream work, and painting. She is a passionate believer that restoring our relationship to the earth is the most potent medicine of our times. Her mixed ancestry of Finnish, Dutch, and Indonesian influences her to reclaim and honor the wisdom that lies deep within the land and cosmos. Talk about two amazing women, and the fact that they have somehow found each other and been able to fuse their knowledge, their experience, and their skills together to create such an informative oracle deck blows my mind, guys. Wow. I didn't even know that before I bought this deck. I solely went on the way the cards looked in the images and the description, and then to read that, it really kind of instills like, this is going to be truly an incredible deck to work with. So with that, we'll take a look at the book inside. When we get to our table of contents, of course, we have an introduction section, and then another section that talks about how to work with the oracle. And then there is also an inclusion of card spreads in here. Let's see, I wanted to pull to that page for you guys. So there's a couple of spreads in there, and they are titled The Cardinal Cross of the Medicine Wheel. She also talks about uprights and reversals in here, astrological configurations, and the present moment spread, which looks like a 3-card, and also a relationship spread, as well as a 6-card called the moon spread. And then we get into our card interpretations, which I wanted to mention. Each of the cards is separately listed in the table of contents so that you can easily find that exact card to its page number. And the card meanings themselves are broken up into sections. So we have cards that are with herbs that are associated with the sun, the moon, with Venus, with Mercury, with Mars, with Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And then we have 3 herbs or cards with the asteroids and 2 with the lunar nodes. And then at the back of the book, we have section with acknowledgements, and then it looks to be more elaborated on the bios of the author and the artist. And so real quick, I'll just pull to a random page here for one of the cards, number 14, happens to be hibiscus, representing joy. They also include the botanical name of the herb or the plant or the mushroom. And then they have upright, reversed, and astrological ruler interpretations. And then the rest we'll get into at the end when I pull a card. I just did want to make mention that while we do not have individual card pictorial images in here, I think it kind of makes up for that because these cards are the same, just about a little bit bigger size as the guidebook. So, you know, if you are more of a visual person, you would easily be able to kind of hold that card in place. If you are doing, say, a single card, or you're just kind of going through the book, maybe card by card, to see to make more of a connection with each one and to see, you know, what you're gleaning at that time from each card. But you can very easily hold them along. I think that kind of makes up for not having any images within the guidebook. And it probably would have made this book much bigger considering how long each entry is. So with that, I will set this aside. We'll save that for later so that we can take a look at our single card pull at the end. Let's get into these cards and let's talk about the integrity and the aesthetics first before we get into our flip through. So taking a look at the back, we have this smooth matte finish. Hopefully you guys can see that. And hopefully you can see aesthetically on these card backs, they are fully reversible. So same image, top and bottom. And as I did mention, there is an entry in there for each card mentioning reversals. So that is a thing in this deck that the creator has included. On the back here, we have all sorts of things tucked into the imagery. We've got, you know, the sun, the moon, little stars. We've got rain. We've got seeds sprouting and opening up. We've got clouds. We've got flowers, other animals. We've got berry sprigs. I mean, there is an Ouroboros. There is so much detail and tiny little things tucked into the back of this card. It is incredible. So that is something that, you know, you could just sit and focus on for quite a while. There's a little bee. There's bees in here. I mean, there's so much, guys, and it is really, really cute and well done, well thought out. The flexibility of these cards feel solid. They feel pretty darn thick. And, you know, they don't have a high gloss finish that's, you know, adding an extra thick plasticky layer to them. So they feel really good. The flexibility is strong, maybe like not quite as pliable. I think it even, we blew out a candle there. But they feel really good. So let's take a look. You know, they don't have a super flimsy flex to them. And I'll grab a bunch of them here for riffle. Nice sound to them. But yeah, these are quite thick oracle cards. And so as you can see, they do hold that shape from a riffle, but they do bounce back quite well. It didn't take much effort there to really manipulate them back to their original straight. And for my hand over hand, folks, once you break up the new card deck and get air in between those cards, you know, they shuffle quite well. And with that, you know, my corgi shufflers, no problem there either. Once those cards are broken up, they will glide and slide over one another, you know, almost effortlessly, very nicely. You know, once you get the cards broken up initially out of the deck and get the air flowing in between those guys. Let's talk about size. So this is pretty much your typical oracle shape and size dimensions here. It's that blocky, chunky shape. In my small hands, I can easily hold them widthwise, but when we take a look at length, obviously, as to be expected, not quite. Not a big deal though, as that's pretty standard. The last thing I want to mention for you guys is the edges. It is just a raw white edge, and because the coloration on the cards is edge to edge, you may see some of that kind of poking through along the sides. That's not a deal breaker for me. I don't really care. And I know there are a lot of people out there who end up, if it really bothers them, they edge their own cards. This would probably look really nice in a gold or a brown or a green. So with that, just keep in mind, you might see some of the colors kind of popping through there, but I think that's it, everyone. So we are ready to get into our amazing flip through of these beautiful cards. And so I am going to keep the commentary pretty minimal. I'll read out the card number, the name, the associated word or keyword, and then I will point out the astrological symbol at the top. Yeah, so let's get into this. I just want to make sure, I'm going to zoom in so that I can ensure that you guys are going to see this. Fantastic. Let's get into this. So card number 1, we have Calendula with purity and represented by the sun. Number 2, we have St. John's wort. I'm going to hold this whole thing for you guys. Number 2 is St. John's wort with radiance, also represented by the sun. Number 3 is rosemary with ancient memory, represented by the sun and Mercury. Number 4 is rue with protection, and we have the sun and Pluto. Number 5 is blue lotus with intuition, and we have the sun and the moon at the top. It's a very beautiful card. Number 6 is sage with blessing. At the top, we have the moon and Jupiter. And number 7 is Pal de Arco with metamorphosis, and we have the moon and Pluto. Number 8 is Bobinsana with trust. At the top, we have the moon and Neptune. Number 9 is chamomile with inner peace. We have the sun and the moon. 10 with mugwort for psychic healing. We have the moon and Neptune. And number 11 with Damiana, the beloved. We have Venus and Pluto. Number 12 is rose for love, represented by Venus and the moon. Number 13 is motherwort for strength, represented by Venus. Number 14 is hibiscus for joy with Venus and Pluto. Number 15 is yarrow for harmony, represented by Venus. Number 16 is mucuna for journey with Mercury and Uranus at the top. Number 17, gotukola for higher consciousness with Mercury and the moon at the top. Number 18 is lion's mane for leadership with Mercury and Uranus at the top. And number 19 is Tulsi for wealth with Mercury and Jupiter associated. Number 20 is lavender for weaver with Mercury at the top. Number 21 is nettle for action, represented by Mars and Pluto. Number 22, Zirgon Sacha with transfiguration, represented by Mars and Pluto. Number 23 is milk thistle for peaceful warrior, represented by Mars and the moon. Number 24, tobacco for offering with Mars and Pluto. Number 25 is cat's claw with purification, represented by Mars and Pluto. Number 26, we have cordyceps with revival, represented by Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars. Number 27 is reishi for retreat, represented by Jupiter and the sun. Next, we have elder at number 28 for wisdom, represented by Jupiter and Pluto. Number 29 is Shisandra for grace, represented by Jupiter and Venus. Number 30 is Echinacea with destiny, represented by Jupiter and Pluto. Number 31, cannabis with detachment, represented by Saturn and Neptune. Number 32 is comfrey with completion, represented by Saturn. Next, we have 33, arnica with teacher, represented by Saturn. Next is number 34, Mitragenia with shapeshifting. We have Saturn and Neptune. 35 is horsetail with patience. We have Saturn and Venus. Next is number 36 with coca, foresight. We have Uranus and Venus. Next is 37, rhodiola with wisdom, represented by Uranus and Mercury. Number 38 is cacao with initiation, and we have Uranus and Venus. Number 39 is ginkgo with breakthrough, and we have Mars and Uranus. Number 40 is ginseng for magician, and that's represented by Uranus and Jupiter. And number 41, poppy with dream, is the card that we have represented on the front of our guidebook and the front of our box. This is represented by Neptune and Jupiter. Next, number 42 is Amanita with conduit, represented by Neptune, Pluto, and Mercury. We have number 43 is passion flower with surrender, associated with Neptune and the moon. Number 44, valerian with acceptance, represented by Neptune. Number 45, mandrake with sensuality, is associated with Neptune and Venus. Number 46, angel's trumpet with death, represented by Pluto and Mars. Number 47, skull cap and stillness with Pluto and Saturn. Next is number 48, kava kava with community, represented by Pluto and the moon. Number 49, psilocybin with commune, represented by Pluto and the sun. Number 50, we have ayahuasca with rebirth, represented by Pluto, Jupiter, and Neptune. Number 51, dragon's blood with anima mundi, represented by black moon Lilith and Pluto. Number 52, lemon balm with nurture, represented by Ceres and Jupiter. Number 53, dandelion with wounded healer, associated with Chiron and Jupiter. Number 54, ashwagandha with purpose, represented by the North Node and Moon. And lastly, number 55, Palo Santo with guardian, represented by the South Node and Pluto. So with that is our complete herbal astrology oracle deck flip through and all of the imagery that it contains. How beautiful. I would love to know what you guys think of these cards. I think they're absolutely stunning. I'm very impressed by this deck, and I cannot wait to dive more deeply into the meanings of the cards and just to truly see how these representations and associations, the planetary associations, really just mix with the herbs themselves. Truly, truly, just an incredible deck. I think it's almost overwhelming how much symbolism is in there and the deeper meanings that each card holds. But I'm very excited to learn more. So we're going to take this guy. Let's get into learning about some of the symbolism now with the guidebook, just as a fun little parting gift for you guys before we step away from this review. So we have number 32 with comfrey and completion, and this is represented by Saturn. So let's see if I can find comfrey in here without using the table of contents. There we go. Okay, so like I did mention before with our entry here, we have the card number 32, comfrey. Its keyword symbolism here is completion. And then in the guidebook, they also include the herbal or planetary botanical name, which this one looks to be Symphytum officinale. And then at the top, we have the Saturn representation, and that is mentioned under the astrological ruler. We also have the upright and reversed meanings. So I will read both of those because we're not really doing either or. The upright reads achievement, completion of cycle, success, closure, completion of long journey, wholeness, and mending. In a reversed reading, this would represent making the same mistakes, lack of closure, feeling incomplete, and emptiness. So we'll get into reading our Comfrey card. Comfrey, also known as boneset or knit bone, has been cultivated for its healing properties since 400 BCE. Wow. It was used by the ancient Greeks, Romans, Celts, and many more to heal broken bones, bind wounds, and stop heavy bleeding. Incredible. Symphytum comes from the Greek words sympho, meaning to grow together, and phyton, meaning plant. Comfrey comes from the Latin confirmare, which also means to grow together. The Greek historian Herodotus recommended comfrey to stop severe bleeding internally and externally. Later, Greeks used it to heal lung problems. Farmers value comfrey. It was grown as a food for people and livestock and produced valuable fertilizer for the garden. The plant was also used as a food during the Irish potato famine in the 1840s, though it's recommended to not eat too much of it because of its impact on the liver. Ruled by Saturn, comfrey promotes the healing of the skin and musculoskeletal system. The roots and leaves stimulate cell proliferation and promote bone and wound healing. Saturnian herbs are those said to relieve the body and mind from karma, assisting the shielding, endurance, restoration, and repair. Saturn grants wisdom through challenges. Like Saturn, comfrey heals the general musculoskeletal system. This is just fascinating information. And then we end with a guidance section that reads, comfrey represents wholeness, completion, and closure to a great cycle. The wreath symbolizes the cycle, containing the energy of the past, present, and future, hovering over the clouds to note how the foundation of all cycles are grounded in mystery. Comfrey majestically grows in the center, representing the axis mundi, the sacred heart, the sacred will that pulses the great mystery. Comfrey has appeared today to signal that a great cycle is nearing completion. Stay aligned as you continue to prune and heal the garden of the self. Look closely into repeated patterns, persons, or situations that keep showing up in your life. Draw upon comfrey's power to mend and find wholeness in lessons and patterns that need closure. So guys, that is our one card interpretation. I hope you enjoyed being able to see kind of how the cards are broken down and the mentions that are made with some of the symbolism in here, and truly what the history of these herbs and plants and mushrooms in here kind of, represent, and how through the ages their history has kind of come about and what their meanings are. I am really excited to dive more deeply personally into this deck, and like I said, if you're interested in picking this up for yourself, I have those links in the description below for you guys, so that you can pop over to the publisher and pick this up for yourself. I am not affiliated with anyone associated with this deck in any way. I simply just want to, help you guys out and give you easy information if you want to track this down, because it appears to be truly an incredible deck. So everyone, with that, I really appreciate y'all being here and joining me with this in-depth review and flip through of our Herbal Astrology Oracle deck. If you enjoyed it, please consider, a like, share, subscribe. You can leave a comment below. If you have this deck, I'd love to know what you think of it, and kind of what ways you've been working with it. I'm really open to kind of, other people's experiences with it as well, and to gain more knowledge on that. But with that, my friends, I hope that you have an incredible day and that you send out lots of peace, love, and gratitude to the world around you. And I look very forward to seeing you all in the next video.